Hey guys, it's me again. I'm up here in this corner, right there. See? Um, I switched things up. Actually, I had to go to a different program because the one I was using all of a sudden just said I could only record for 5 minutes. And that's not long enough. So here I am. We're on lesson 3 of module 4. And here we go. Okay. So what you're going to need for this lesson is your Google Binder, of course, a space to learn, away from distractions, a paper and pencil if that's what you would choose to write down things with, a copy of Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World, and again, a positive attitude, and I'm sure you just come all sunshiny and happy and ready to learn during this time together, right? Of course. Okay, so your welcome task today, and I'm really sorry if like my face is taking up all of this thing. I tried to shrink my head, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm really sorry. Anyway, I'll just read this quote to you. So the quote says, "But Shackleton set his sights on a new goal, to be the first to cross the southern continent from one side to another." And that's Armstrong, page 4. We haven't gone over citations in a long time, but let me just remind you of how to do them because you will be doing them at some point pretty soon. You have a parenthesis, the last name of the author, which is Armstrong, the page number, and then the parenthesis again, and then the period or whatever punctuation you're using. Okay, so just a quick review on citations. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go into your response section, and I want you to use context clues. If you remember what those are, whenever we are trying to figure out what a vocab word is, we look at clues around the word in the sentence, or we try to figure out, based on the context of the sentence, how to interpret any words we don't understand. So in this particular situation, I want you to try to figure out what the first paragraph, sorry, the first title. The first chapter is called Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition. And I want you to use context clues from that sentence I just wrote to figure out why the cruise undertaking is called the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition. So in other words, what in that sentence that I just read says, "But Shackleton set his sights on a new goal, to be the first to cross the southern continent from one side to another." So what can we get from that sentence that helps us understand why this chapter is called Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition? And a secondary question, so there's two things you're responding to. That's the first one. And the second question is, what does the prefix trans indicate? Okay, so I want you to try to figure out those things on your own. You're going to use this heading. You're going to have the date, which is March 24th, 25th, I think. March 25th, it's lesson 3 or module 3, and this is called the welcome activity. So again, you're going to create a new doc in your response folder, and then that's going to be the title at the top, and that's going to be the heading at the top. The very top where you have a title, you're going to have the date, and then lesson 3. Okay, so the date today is 3/25/2020, and it's lesson 3. Okay, that's going to be your title of your document. Okay, so pause me and go jump and answer that question. So the key parts of that sentence that help us understand what Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition is it says cross the southern continent. So we can determine what trans means, or a trans-Antarctic expedition means, by the context clues in that particular sentence. So we can glean that trans means to cross. And then Imperial, we're not maybe familiar with that word unless you've watched Star Wars. So maybe you're familiar with the Imperial March. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, you've all missed my singing, I know it. Anyway, so that's called the Imperial March. So Imperial kind of reminds us of the word empire, and that's what it's similar to. So if this is the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, then we know it has something to do with some empire, perhaps, and that they're going across the Antarctic, and it's an expedition of some sort, an exploration. Okay. All right, so let's jump to our content framing question for today. I'm not going to repeat the essential question and the focusing question because they're the same as the last 2 days. But our content framing question today is organize. What's happening in shipwreck at the bottom of the world? Okay, and our class goal today is we're going to read chapter 2 together, and then you're going to independently read chapter 3 of the book, and then you're going to summarize. This is actually incorrect. It says 2 chapters. I'm only actually going to have you summarize 1 chapter, so I will fix that after I'm done. All right, so Armstrong included 40 photographs in her book to communicate ideas and to enhance the text's overall meaning. So these photographs that she included are, they're like primary sources for us. So we can look at them, they're exactly of the real people that were involved in this expedition, and we can learn a lot about the characters and about the setting based on these photographs. So they're an important part of the text. They're a text feature that I don't want you to just skip over, okay? Because they provide a lot of information. And we're going to talk a little bit about ways we can decode photographs. We've talked a lot about different, like how to decode art and artistic terms. We've looked at photos in all 3 classes, and we're going to do that again today. Don't forget to read the captions of photos because they actually offer a lot of information, and sometimes that information is not included in the regular text. Okay, so here are our words we're going to talk about today. These are words that we can talk about with a lot of different types of art, but specifically we're using them for photos. So the first word is layout, and that is how images and text are arranged on the page. The next word is mood. How is the emotion or feeling, which is how the emotion or feeling that is evoked in the reader or viewer. Then we have foreground, which is the area in a painting or photo that seems closest to the viewer. And then we have background, which is the area in a painting or photo that seems furthest away from the viewer. Okay, so what do you notice and wonder about the layout, mood, foreground, and background of the following photos? So I'm going to have you create a T-chart in your response folder. And remember to title your document, if you haven't done it already, with the date and the lesson number. So it's lesson number 3. The date is the 25th. So you're going to have that at the very top of your document. So the first photo we're going to look at together. And then the second photo, I'm going to have you go and you need to, sorry, Caden just came in. You need to go and write down your notice and wonders after you look at the photo. So the first photo we'll look at together. So this is a photo of Ernest Shackleton, Sir Ernest Shackleton. It says the caption says the boss. Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton, leader of the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, had already been to the Antarctic twice before setting out on Endurance. All right, so let's talk about the layout. And it's a little bit out of context because you don't have the book in front of you, but this particular photo is the only thing on the page. So let's think about what that maybe is trying to tell us. It's telling us that this particular gentleman, Mr. Shackleton, or Sir Shackleton, was a very important figure. That's why he has a whole page dedicated just to him. We see that, that it's a portrait of him. It's a close-up picture. As far as the mood, he looks very serious to me, but he also looks like he's in charge, right? He's like commanding. He's somebody that I maybe feel like I would trust to be in charge of something important. The mood is serious, but it's also has strength behind it. And then the foreground, we see him. We don't see anything in front of him. It looks like he's wearing some sort of like maybe suspenders or like things you would wear on a ship. And then in the background, it's very hazy and you can't really distinguish anything, but it makes him the most important figure in the picture, which I think is relevant. Okay, so now we're going to look at these 4 photos. I'm going to pause and move my face away. Hold on. Just move my face lower down. I will move it back in a second. So what I want you to do is look at these 4 photos and tell me what you think about the layout, the mood, the foreground, and then the background. And as you consider these things and you write a notice and wonder chart about these 4 photos, I want you to think about the fact that we had one page for Ernest Shackleton. The entire page was him. On this particular page, we have 4 photos, and this is how it is in the book. There's 4 photos of 4 different gentlemen. Yes, they're important because they have all individual portraits, but why would they be sharing space on a page, whereas Ernest Shackleton had his own page to himself? What do you guys think about the mood of the photos? Are they serious? Are they playful? Are they somber? And what do you think about, what are you seeing in the foreground? What are you seeing in the background? Okay, so think about all those things. I'm going to pause and then move my face again. Okay, so there you can see this guy here. All right, so pause me now and go work on doing a T-chart, notice and wonder chart for layout, mood, foreground, and background. And you're doing that in your response section. Okay, I fixed the problem by elongating the screen, so that'll help a little bit. So I only have 15 minutes of recording time on this particular app, unfortunately, and I only have 5 minutes on the other one, so this is better than that. But I'm going to actually end this recording now, and because we're going to be transitioning into a read aloud, so I'm going to read that out loud to you, and you should, if you have a print copy, you can get your print copy ready. And if you don't have your print copy and you're going to follow along on the online version, I don't know how you'll do that unless you guys know how to split screen, which I don't. But so I'm going to pause this now and then actually end this video, and then I'm going to have to load another video onto Google Classroom. So I'll see you in a second.